All right, friends, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. You know what? Let's get up close and personal here. There we go. Welcome everyone. My name is Trav. We've got Quantic. We've got Kobe. Together, we are Web3 Matters, and I will never do that again. I promise. That was so cheesy.
It's okay. You
Yeah,
can be cheesy here, Trap. Feel free to
there we
express
go.
yourself.
If you're truly going to give me carte blanche to do whatever I do, there's going to be a lot of weird stuff happening on this stream. Let me tell you, guys, really excited for this stream. Thank you guys both for taking the time to hang out with us today. We're talking about video games, how to build them, and then how to monetize. And a little teaser: this whole monetization part of building a video game is so much different than I ever could have imagined it would be, and I'm really excited to get into it. So yeah, Quantic, how you doing today, my man?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was thinking about this during the week, which is who would be the person that kind of purchases these games and who would be the person obviously like creating it besides like by coders and whatnot. And I think we will have some interesting insights. Spoiler alert, maybe not super bullish news. However, there are some interesting data points that we will show together with Kobe today. So I think overall it's going to work the time for the people in our audience. And if you're just joining, please make sure to do this retweet thing, comment, and all that. Otherwise, we get suppressed by the algo, right?
Very, very heavily indeed. Yes. No, if you guys have it in your heart, if you can give this stream a repost, if you're on X, of course, if you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitch, and I've already automatically just completely reversed any progress we may have done. Thanks, Algo. Yeah, just we appreciate your interaction. We appreciate you guys being here. So let's pass the mic over to you there, Kobe. Good morning. Dig in the background, my friend. Way to represent.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning. It's been a good week, man. It's like my first week back to normal, so it's been nice. And yeah, like the gentleman said at the beginning, it was interesting to dive into this data. I kind of went in head first, did like two separate like ChatGPT deep research sessions, dug around, found some like public data, I guess publicly available data, which is pretty cool. Like I think I shared a few months back A16Z shared like the top 100
Mm.
like AI applications, which was pretty cool. So there's like a report, right? So there's a lot of reports that folks do, and I found some cool ones on gaming monetization and just like market share in general, like geographical stuff. I'm very excited to share some of that because there was two things that surprised me a lot from that research. So which we'll get to later.
Very excited. Perfect. Guys, where should we start? Maybe I'll take a quick moment here, if that's cool with you, and just introduce Web3 Matters, because we have been getting a lot of new viewers in our live stream, and we'll just let everyone know who we are and what we do. So yeah, once again, my name is Trav. We've got Quantic. We've got Kobe. We are Web3 Matters, and our mission out here is to just learn as much as we can and share all that with you so that we can all win, we can all grow in Web3, because Web3 is awesome, and we truly believe that the reason Web3 is awesome is because of all of you. It's designed to equalize everything. Decentralization is just badass, and the type of people that are attracted to that, we want to get to know and we want to help. So, in saying that, let's dive right in here. So maybe Kobe here. Why don't you get us started here? Let's talk about gaming. Let's talk about maybe the different types of different genres of games, and how successful or how crappy they are at monetizing, if that makes sense.
Maybe one thing to point out here before we dive into this is kind of making a summary from our past streaming in which we explore how to build games, because you're only on the position to monetize something if you have actually built anything, right? So then we explored during our past stream how easy it is, which platforms, what tips, what did we found. I don't know who wants to take the lead on this. Any of you, Trav or Kobe?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah, you're pointing in my direction. There we go. I understand things. Perfect, guys. So to sum it all up in a nutshell, we've kind of built a game.
You
In
did
a
it. You
previous.
did it with one prompt.
Exactly, with one single prompt. It was awesome. Actually, there was a couple different types that we made actually as well. There was a side scroller jump around, kind of like old school Mario. There was like a Minecraft type one, very rudimentary. Basically, we got our character to run around, pick things up, take damage from enemies, and then jump around, which was awesome. So yeah, very, very new to this. But one thing I will tell you is we've got a Kobe with us, and Kobe has turned into this like seance. I don't know if that's the right word. Guru of vibe coding.
Super Saiyan, I think is the word you're looking for. Super Saiyan.
Super Saiyan level 4 of the vibe coding. Exactly. I will happily receive that Kamehameha right in my face here. So all that to say, the reason I bring that up, that yes, okay, perfect. Is that yeah, in terms of actually, the prompts to make, how to navigate the actual coding aspect of this, I think we're all set to go. It's just a matter of, as Quantic always says, F around and find out.
Around and find out. And yeah, one of the things that I want to clarify here about like Web3 matters, copy, vibe coding, and all things connected together is that first of all, we're not assuming on any of our episodes that any of our viewers have, special coding skills. Actually, Kobe, a couple of months back, he didn't know how to code or anything, and right now he's kind of leading all of these sessions, and he has built a bunch of things that he has showed, and all of that has been on his own, right? He has learned how to build with this kind of tooling, and this is a skill that anyone, absolutely anyone, can acquire and do. And our mission here at Web3 Matters, even though we're connected to obviously like the Web3 and crypto world, is to provide tools for people that want to build and for creators. We have a strong focus on creators as well. So maybe on that regard, Kobe, is there anything else you would like to add as to your experience or what you would advise if we have some people that are coming into this space for the first time and they're newbies and they are watching us talking about monetizing games, which sounds like quite advanced. Maybe there is something you want to share about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like first, so I'll say two things. I'll talk about kind of like how and why I got started and like some advice there, some insight for folks. And then I'm going to talk about Alex Finn. So don't let me forget that. Okay. So there we go. So the first thing is, so obviously, or not obviously, but the majority of the things that I've built that are on my GitHub are not like Web3 specific. However, the first five things were. And the motivation to start building was Web3, right? The very first thing I ever tried to code was an NFT collection. And I know these guys are sick of me saying it, but it was back when you just had to like have ChatGPT write the code, and I was copying and pasting it into VS Code. Once like Cursor came out, and I found out about that, and like all these other things that we showed on stream, Replit, Lovable, and the like, have made it 10x easier. The reason I say that is because I'll talk about things that aren't Web3 related, but the skills apply, right? I was prompted, no pun intended, to build a NFT collection. Then I built a live like predictions market that had users, not a ton, but it had users, real money involved, real wallet connection, all that stuff. And that has allowed me to kind of like zoom out and see the bigger landscape. And so if there's that one idea that you have, like for a game, for a DApp, for whatever it might be, it doesn't even have to be something that's unique. When I built a prediction market, you think I wasn't like, oh wow, Polymarket has the market share. Why would I ever do that? No, that's the stupidest way you can think. Just copy something. Okay, if you haven't built anything, see something you like that like vibes well with you, and go and copy it. Okay, like that's the best piece of advice I can give. And I've shared resources in the past about like how to clone an app or how to clone a website as well. So if you are interested in that, you can either DM me or like go and look back at our old streams. The 100%. Second thing, Alex Finn, so Trav's been following him, I know, for a long time, and he has been kind of the creator's creator, right? Trav, would you kind of say put him in that category, at least in the past?
Fully agree. Yep. Even to this day, his like one of his core ethos is it's very similar to what we're doing here, is help support small accounts, help support anyone, regardless of how many followers you have. And yeah, stand by that 100%.
And have you been watching him lately?
Here and there, hit or miss. Yeah, I've to be honest, you don't want to call myself out. I have not been on X as much as I need to
That,
be, but yeah, no, he's been doing a ton of vibe coding stuff. Like kind of the similar message again to what we're doing right here is all you have to do is start, and you can create some amazing stuff and
exactly.
monetize it.
Exactly. And like, so he's taken, oh, my headphones are yelling at me, battery's low. So if all of a sudden that just sounds different, let me know.
It's all
Um,
good.
he has kind of transitioned. He's still the creator's creator, but now he's like the vibe coding creator's creator, which again, like you said, is kind of similar to what we're doing. Um, and he has really taken on this vibe coding stuff like hardcore. And when I used to mess with him, and then I saw how much vibe coding stuff he was doing for creators, he has an app that's called like Creator Buddy or something like
Mhm.
that he
Yep.
vibe coded. Um, it's awesome because he still keeps his core ethos for the creators, and I think for me sometimes I kind of stray away from that a little bit, just because I'm like like over curious builder. But watching him in the past couple days on YouTube, I haven't been on X as much either, but on YouTube he's been doing some really cool stuff. And yeah, if you guys are interested, that's just another piece of content for our audience to go, another resource for our audience to go check out is Alex Finn, and his YouTube channel.
100%. Oh yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely worthwhile. And the cool thing, maybe I'll finish off by saying this, and unless Quantic have anything else you want to add, which obviously I would love for you to do, is that there's no better time than now. It's still early. It's still very, very early when it comes to vibe coding here. And when we look down the line with the speed at which AI is progressing and like that bell curve of how fast vibe coding is becoming easier and easier and more accessible to literally everyone. This opportunity that we have right now in this moment is not going to last forever. Pretty soon, all of the vibe coding jobs, all of the coding jobs will be taken up by everyone. And, you're going to miss this
Amazon just laid
shot.
off 14,000 people. Amazon did, right? One of the biggest companies in the
Wow.
entire world. White collar roles.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And on the macro side, you can expect this to continue to happen. More things will get automated. Uh, more AI stuff is going to replace people. So then what people are going to do, a lot of people will talk to you about universal income and whatnot. But the reality is that in the short or midterm, you will need to figure out things for yourself. That's life. And it's going to be tough. And I think that what we're doing here with Web3 Matters in these vibe coding sessions and then informing you how you can make money out of it, not only giving you the resources and building it ourselves, is so that you can scratch your back at the end of the day, right? We're all here trying to figure it out things, and we want to support each other and build this community of vibe coders, creators, and builders that they just want to make progress, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's all about empowering ourselves, breaking away from the 9 to 5, breaking away from the centralized ecosystem that we all have been brought up in, and have a blast here. Any kind of final thoughts on that before we dive in there, gentlemen?
I think we're ready to go.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Take it away, Kobe. Let's dive right in. So where are we going to start? Why don't you guide the conversation?
Yeah, so let's start here. I'll share my screen, and then let's start with just kind of the bigger picture, right? Like um, the just different game. Let me get this little guy out of here. You guys can see my screen good?
And just sorry, real quick, got to give a shout out to Chris. Chris, the man on YouTube as well. Chris is an absolute legend on X and YouTube creator. He's like pinnacle of success on on multiple platforms here. And awesome to have you here, my friend. Love this. Trav Setup gives
Hell yeah.
Animal Crossing vibes. I love it. I love Animal Crossing. I will absolutely
Hell
take
yeah.
that. Thank you, dude. This is the highest form of compliment. Back at you,
Shout out
Kobe.
Chris. Shout out Chris. Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's talk about just like core monetization of games, right? So I've got top 5, and I've got some honorable mentions as well. And we'll just like skim through these really quick. So these is like 5 different ways that the industry monetize games, whether that's Web 2 or Web 3. So the top 5 here is our buy to own or pay to own, which is like the traditional model, right? The what's it called? EA Sports, right? When you used to get like an NBA Live, you would spend 50, $60 on it.
Wait, what's this?
Traditional model.
Sorry to interrupt you there. What the fuck is that sound?
Dude, I loved it. I loved it. I was digging it. It
That
was
was
like
on the
Halo.
Halo theme song, exactly. Just adding a little bit of vibe to
Yes.
and I think
So that wasn't by mistake. That's what I want to.
no,
Yeah.
that was happening. I figured it was an appropriate song because it's video games. It's one of the most epic video games, and it's a vibe. Are you guys
and
into
it's
it?
one that you and it's one that you had to pay to own, right? Back in the day. So
Yeah,
it was perfect,
100%.
dude. It was perfect.
Exactly.
It was taking me back to my Halo like LAN party days, man, with the big Xbox One controller, or not
Oh,
Xbox One,
so
but the
much fun.
really OG. Woo! We'd
100%.
get like
Also,
4 Xboxes connected in the house. Oh man.
100%. We're being prompted here. We need to get into the game. Get in the game. Or
Yeah.
wait, is that the
EA
reference to the
Sports?
actual EA Sports? Get in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
Chris,
So the
legend.
second the second one, second monetization strategy, we're all too familiar with this, right? It kind of gets a bad rap. Microtransactions in games and in-game
Yes.
purchases. Again, just to set the stage, we talked about before, none of these work if your game isn't good, right? Or if you don't have users. So just like caveat there for all of this. Yeah, super, mobile store, cosmetic skins, energy, all that stuff, loot boxes. This would be your Web 2 equivalent. Your Web 3 equivalent would be the same thing with NFT versions or on-chain marketplaces. Um, and yeah, collectibles, right? So if we talk about DeFi Legends or DeFi Kingdom a lot, and that would be kind of one of those like that's using that model. So the revenue flow for this
Shout
one,
out
go
to
ahead, Trev.
DFK, by the way.
Yeah, big shout out, big shout out. Like player and store like revenue split, and it pairs well with ads and stuff, which we'll get to in a second. So in-game ads, this would be, again, you can't really do this if you don't have users or a game. So it's all kind of this chicken and egg for attention thing, which is kind of the bigger idea. So monetization through ads, right? Rewarding players who engage with sponsored content. We saw, gosh, I know like Score Milk does this, and they not have their own game. That's like a platform for other games. I'm not shilling them. I actually don't like them. But anyways, token. We're gonna move on from ads. Subscriptions and season passes. This is like your Fortnite Battle Pass, right? Which is kind of a meme at this point. But almost all mobile games will have a combination of almost all 5 of these, right? Maybe not the maybe not the buy to own or pay to own, but for sure microtransactions, in-game purchases, and your season pass. This is like a really good combo,
Yeah.
right? And unfortunately, like I cringe thinking about it, but I'm going to show you some charts in a second that show you that it's actually growing. The amount of money spent on this stuff is insane.
Oh, 100%.
Sponsorships and brand partnerships, right? This is for any app or game, really, right? Live events, in-game advertisements. Again, it kind of pairs well with that. And the cool thing with this is a brand or a partner can pay the builders, right? So it's a way for the builders to make money without users having to, pay to pay, right? So it's a way to probably get users initially. So you could start with this off a really good idea, right? And then transition to like subscriptions or microtransactions and stuff once you have like a dedicated user base. So these are the fun ones. Before I go to the honorable mentions, any comments, or should I keep it rolling?
I'm curious, Quanti, if you have anything you want to add here first, because I know before we were chatting, you mentioned some pretty non-bullish things about these specific monetization types, and I do have some too, and I will absolutely share.
Yeah, but I think it's good to keep going on this so that people have an overview of what are their alternatives, and then we can get it more into the macro stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, I'll speed through these honorable mentions. Crowdfunding, early access. This is interesting because you can kind of like skin the cat a few different ways here. So obviously, with a good idea, you can raise funds from early supporters in exchange for like a promise for future access. We see a lot of games that are like in development doing this, or even projects that come out and it's like a pre-sale, right? Like, hey, I'm going to sell you on the idea, and then I'm going to raise money from either VCs or retail or both. And so yeah, pretty cool there. You could do NFT pre-sale. We see that a lot.
Hmm.
Game Pass, access badge, and not for all NFA, and I'm not really sure what that means. Um, and yeah, pretty straightforward there. And it often leads into buy to own, right? Or perks later. So it's like if you have that special NFT, you can kind of get extra
Mm.
cool stuff. So this one's maybe a little bit more up our alley, like the UGC revenue share creator economy. One example could be like if I have an application and I want to, maybe I have a game and I want people to help me shill it, then I would like offer some type of bounty for like UGC, and then maybe as the platform could take like 10%, and then the creator that actually makes the UGC content could take 90% or something like that, and then some like in-game or like gamification of that as well. Play to earn, tokenize rewards. This one's a little bit tricky. Axie Infinity is what I think of when I see this. Is it really play to earn, or is it like work to earn only if you live in a third world country? Is that what it should be titled? I'm not sure. Which is totally fine, because if I'm in the United States and I want to play a game and I'm willing to put money into the game and basically let that money transfer from my hands to people that have been grinding in a third world country or in somewhere where money is more expensive, if that makes sense, then I'm totally cool with that. We obviously saw how that kind of collapsed with Axie Infinity and stuff like that. But anywho, last two, merch licensing extensions. So this is like your Pudgy Penguins. If Pudgy Penguins made a game, right, they would be monetizing their basically the.
Oh.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, all set.
Okay, cool. And then the last one, pay to skip time, right? So if you're those city
Mm.
builder games, like Sim City has like a mobile app, you can grind and like let the time go by, or you can um, pay money microtransactions to like oh, I don't want to wait 6 hours for my tower to build, right? A Clash of Clans, anybody?
100%.
Yeah, that's a nice game. And there are some things that people I think kind of do not consider about this market, which is first of all the fact that the first question that I had when I started looking at the data is who is going to pay for this game? And then I realized how big the market is and the fact that most of the people that are players, they don't want to, they are fed up of paying subscriptions. So that's the first thing that might be like, it might be some very convenient, just like a SaaS model, right? You create a software, but in this case, a game, and then you monetize each month through subscriptions. And it turns out that people are very fed up of this type of monetization because they are willing to pay one time if the game is good and they just want to play, right? It's a different thing. They just want to play. And they are also, considering paying for removing the ads and whatnot. And okay, amazing. That's the second thing that I wanted to see is like this data with this different benchmark. So what is this Fortnite 42 billion? What is that number exactly about? It's like the market cap or what?
Also, real quick,
Um,
shout out to Chris, who used to stream Clash of Clans and was max TH13 when he stopped playing, which I've never actually played Clash of Clans, but I imagine that's pretty impressive. You guys played?
Oh yeah, dude. I went too hard on Clash of Clans back in college. All my buddies were playing it, and I'm like, dude, I'm not playing a mobile game. And then I downloaded it one day when I was on the toilet, and it was it was like a 5 year thing after that. Probably
Wow.
till like 2019, maybe. Like right before COVID is kind of when I stopped.
Okay, damn. Yeah, that's sweet, sweet. One more shout out to you there, Chris. You're the man here. Sorry, back at it. Well, yeah,
In
we're looking at the Fortnite. Are these market caps or what is this?
Okay, so this is the game here. Let me go back to this. So this is 2024 stats, right? So this is
Okay.
just 1 year of stats, right? So
Mm.
obviously Fortnite did $42 billion in revenue. Who knows what their profit margins are, right? Like they could be, only making a couple billion, but if you're if you're spending 40 billion to make 42 billion, that's okay, I think. Um, Candy
Only
Crush, the
only 2
O
billion. Let me just emphasize that. Just a measly $2 billion. No big deal. Carry on.
Right. Sorry, I had a quick. Was there echo there when you were
Nope.
talking? Oh, okay.
No.
Cool.
Very good.
Yeah, I don't hear any echo
Um,
anymore. You fixed it somehow.
all right,
Do you hear
awesome.
it,
So yeah,
Quantic? Sorry.
No, no, it's all good on my end.
Perfect.
Okay, sick,
Carry
sick.
on.
So let's jump over to so Candy Crush, just like the OG. I bet in its prime, Clash of Clans was up here as well in the billions, no doubt. GTA 5 still kicking, and then let's go to this market context. So this was the global Web3 gaming market size. So this is just market valuation of the gaming ecosystem in Web3, valued at $31 billion or 31 and a
Wow.
half billion in 2024. And I'm not sure if that number is up or down in 2025, but at the end of this year, in a couple months here, we'll be able to see. So here's our projection for 2034, which is it's a projection. Things could go crazy. My thing is I think that we're actually going to see the hybridization between Web 2 and Web 3 games, where
Mm.
most people that are using most games that have a blockchain in the back end are going to abstract a lot of that away, where the users aren't even going to be able to tell. They'll still be able to use their credit card. What was that like? Not RPG, but the battle royale. It was like first person shooter battle royale. It was really really hyped at the end of last year. It was Web 3. Uh,
Oh, that sounds
yeah, damn.
awesome.
Yeah, I downloaded it on my PC. It was too early. My PC couldn't run it.
Yeah, yeah.
But God, dude, it's right on the tip of my tongue. It was so hyped up, and I don't even know if I assume they launched and then all the hype went away. That's usually how this stuff goes. Uh, Web3 gaming trading volume. So this is aftermarket or secondary market trading volume for like NFTs or in-game assets. 5 billion in 2024. Um,
Wow.
and we talk about DFK a lot. Like they have their marketplace for their heroes,
Yeah.
and that does volume, right? Like probably more or just as much. If a game has a token, it probably does just as much that volume as the tokens itself. And just to put things, my final point for data, I do have like some other charts as well that I just want to at least show one of them. But it's crazy to think Fortnite alone, 42 billion in 2024, and then Web3 gaming alone is still kind of, I don't want to say dwarfed, but Fortnite alone is 42 billion, and then the Web3 gaming is 30 billion.
Wow.
Yeah,
All of
super crazy.
Web3 gaming is 30. There's
Yeah,
definitely a
wow.
discrepancy there. And it definitely shows that for Web3 gaming, it's still very early and a lot of work needs to be done. But yeah, no, kind of I think a real hurdle is going to be just in terms of, mass adoption for Web3 gaming is going to be to actually convert the diehard Web2 gamers into the Web3 realm. I think that's going to be a huge challenge for many
Yeah,
reasons, which I won't get into now.
I totally agree. The the most interesting data point I found, and I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, right? If we go back to the way old school gaming, Nintendo, right?
Mhm.
I think it was, probably the biggest in Japan, right? And still the Asian Pacific part of the world is the largest, in terms of I don't know if this is users or games or like money spent, like where does the money come from? But
Mhm.
regardless, global game market size by region, the Asian Pacific part of the world just dwarfs everything else, and then North America coming in second, and then a close third with Europe, probably just based on the amount of money that is in these places to
Wow.
spend, right?
So, Kobe, I want to hear now your perspective, specifically from the point of view of vibe coding and, a builder itself.
Yeah.
Um, we already know that the conclusion is that probably if your main goal is to monetize something digital, you have a better chance of doing so by building other types of digital products and maybe a SaaS, whatever, right?
Hmm.
And we're going to talk about that later. But right now, if you had to do something in this space, what would you personally choose and why?
I think after this data, I would choose a mobile game. I
Right.
would, if I was I wouldn't do any Web3 mechanisms. But if that was the mission, if I was like kind of instructed to do that, I would abstract it away. I would do all the things that third web like allows you to do, at least on web apps.
and abstract away as much of the Web3 aspects as possible, make it like a traditional payments rail on the front end, and then payments on the back end would be handled in Web3, like converted from a Stripe account into Web3, so that the gamers didn't have to learn any of that. They didn't have to have a wallet. Like their in-game wallet would be the wallet. And it would be a mobile game, and it would probably be something similar to, like, I would pick an existing model that already is proven to work, and I would probably target my ad spend in the Asian Pacific and Asian Pacific. I would just basically follow this chart, right? I would spend
Yeah.
this percentage of my money here, and then I would break this up into the second these two regions as well. So, maybe something like tower defense, hero, the thing, right? I don't know. I'm not a gamer myself, right? I used to game heavy. Now, on the flip side, I think the best possible way to do this is like if a builder does it for the quote unquote like love of the game, because we mentioned before, and like, just because these numbers are huge doesn't mean it's easy to make money here, right? It's very saturated, right? Like,
Mm.
just because the chart's going up doesn't mean that it's alt season for mobile games. You know what I mean? You still have to have a good game. You have to have good ad spend. You probably have to get with the right partners to get you boosted up in the app store in the right way. There's probably a lot of like manipulation, probably fake downloading. You probably got to get with some people to get a bunch of bots to download your game to rank in the app store. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would do a proven strategy. I would target Asia Pacific market. Shoot, maybe the whole game would be in Mandarin or something, right? Like, I know a lot of people over there speak English, but maybe that's what it would take to like kind of extract liquidity from that market. Because at the end of the day, I don't have a love of the game, if that makes sense. So I would be doing it strictly to make money, and so I would follow like proven monetization strategies based on the research that I showed you at the beginning, and then figure out who to target, how to target, what type of game, looking for these through these like public reports.
Yeah, I like that a lot. And one of the things that I want to highlight is that there is another significant event taking place behind when you look at the macro data of gaming about specifically monetization and market share, which is like this is highly governed by big network effects, right? So as we can see, like a large gaming platform, such as we have with Fortnite, those guys are making all of the money, right? So it looks like a winners take all. So then the question is, what's happening with the small creators and with indie hackers? And right now, what we are seeing is that, of course, they have a very challenging, road ahead of them because of these giants. However, with the incorporation of LLMs and these platforms that we were studying during the week, there is a chance, a tiny chance, that these people can actually monetize. However, the struggle is still real, and you would have to have a lot of passion in order to push this through and make a living
That's
out
the
of it.
biggest thing, I think, is the passion, love of the game, 100%, dude.
So here's my kind of follow up question on that. Then would it, in kind of a Web3 context, because we exist in a Web3 world currently, and this is a Web3 based live stream, and our name is Web3 Matters. Do you think it could be worth kind of building a Web3 community? Because I think before I get to the end of that question here, where the heck was I going with this? One second here.
Is it worth it? Let me work it. Let me flip it down, put it in reverse it. I think that's where you're going.
That's exactly where I'm going. You nailed it. You nailed it. Okay, crap. You know what? Someone else take the mic. I'm gonna figure out what I was trying to say again.
Yeah, I wanted to say that kind of just like if Quantic would ask me the question he asked me just a little bit differently, right? Like, if I was going to make a game in Web3 and try to find make a successful game in Web3, I don't even think I wouldn't even sell it as a game. What I would
Mm,
do is take a traditional, whatever, like semi-traditional model. I've talked about an idea like a crowdfunding, right? Like, that's a traditional model, right? Crowdfunding is a traditional model. or just raising money in general. And then I would find a way, because we see apps like the Believe app and Pump Fund, like you could argue that these are fundraising models in a way. There's obviously a lot of nuance, and that could be like a whole separate conversation. Is raising money through Pump Fund ethical, blah, blah, blah. But I would take a traditional model and I would gamify the experience.
Mm,
One example is like I had this idea. It's kind of a bigger, again, you got to have passion to do this. Um, but a RPG that there's like guilds, but the guilds are actually game studios or builder studios, right? So it's like you're three other guys, and you guys are building a DeFi app. Well, you don't have enough money, and you don't know, you've never raised money through VC, so you don't know who to talk to. Well, maybe you start this guild, and you maybe build an MVP, and then people can join your guild by buying an NFT, and then that NFT maybe goes, like the funds go to the game devs or the builders, the builder camp, um, and then that person owns a piece of that game, and so it's like uh, public ownership type of thing. Anyways, whatever. The idea is take a traditional model and gamify it. That's how I would do it if I were to do it in Web3. It wouldn't be, for me, it wouldn't be about the game. It would be about the thing that you're doing, and it's just more fun because it's kind of like feels like a game. Like instead of the way that DeFi kingdoms makes DeFi mechanisms, right? Like the staking and
yeah.
stuff, like it's called something different. The only difference is I would like to like actually be first person and like walk my guy over to the little thing, have like an animation where I'm like doing the thing, and okay, now I've staked my coins, or now I've bought into this guild, or now I've redeemed my NFT for the percentage of this month's revenue share, whatever it might be.
That sounds awesome. And honestly, that's kind of what I was thinking as well. Is if we do choose to go the Web3 route, which I think that's what I was trying to get at before, is do we go that route or do we go entirely Web2 and see what happens? We can discuss that in a second here. But if we go the Web3 route, I think it's all about making current things that I do in Web3 already more fun. Like every day when I go to check out my portfolio, like it'd be fun to add in a gaming component to that. Like instead of just like scrolling through different apps, scrolling or dApps, scrolling through different wallets, checking to see what things are, actually, make it fun. Maybe I have to do a battle or something like that, or maybe I have to, I don't know, yeah, jump through hoops or solve a puzzle or something.
Yeah,
So that
gamify the thing,
exactly.
make the
Um,
thing more fun.
but yeah, otherwise, so I guess we have to figure out what our mission is with this. Is it to show people how to make a Web3 game, how to build a game in a Web3 context and monetize and make it work? And, help propagate, Web3 and DeFi or whichever other component of Web3 we choose to? Or do we show our audience how to build a Web2 game and try to make as much money as possible from it?
For me, I think I think the key here for today's stream with 17 minutes left is we showed people how to take an idea and go before you like, all right, I found a niche that I want to maybe build in. This is how you go when you find information to validate your idea. It's all about validating ideas. We're no longer in the, what's it called, the information age. We're in the validation age, right? So AI can spit out 100 different ideas, but it's your job as the human to go and to do your own market research. How viable is any idea, and validate that. And from my findings, um I wouldn't like it. It sounded cool. Like I've even thought about, okay, let me spin up a mobile game and try to just make like $100 a month off like little microtransactions. But like if I don't give a shit, no one's gonna give a shit enough to pay for
Fair.
microtransactions. And um, so yeah, validate the idea, right? Like go and do these market researches, validate your idea. That's the most important thing before you even pick up a vibe coding tool, before you even um now, on the flip side, if you've never done it before, please don't validate any freaking idea. Go copy someone else's and just go do it and learn. But if you're looking to establish like a proper business model and like do this to be profitable, do the market research, and my findings basically led me to the decision that I think making a game in general is a bad idea, and that's my transition to Quantic. Quantic has some findings
Yeah.
that he'd like to share as well.
Yes, yes, exactly. So let me break it down for you. Unfortunately, we have to give you some news, right? Which is, okay, I was talking with a friend of mine that is into this vibe coding thing, mostly for monetization purposes. He likes to do like vibe coding things, but for others, really. So like as a junior developer for others, right? So he can do landing page, all of the stuff that we actually have covered here in Web3 Matters. He's not very active like on social media or anything, so I have to like ping him on IRL, let's say, and I had a coffee with him during this week, and I asked him about the gaming stuff, and the issue is that it's kind of one of the worst way of getting monetized, mostly because the complexity it is still present, even though you can prompt basic games. If you want to take that into full production, there are still some complexities. Never like consider also what happens if you want to incorporate with three elements, right? We know that we have like some things like third web that you can utilize, but then you are adding then another level of complexity because you would need to have some sort of tokenomics, NFTs, it's a whole new level. So that's one thing. Um, Another thing in regards to this is that uh, you can spend that same time if your goal is to monetize in creating like digital products, right? And if you do that, at least on his opinion, you would find like much better channels to monetize and people that are interested into this, because right now there are some marketplace platforms in which you can go and try to monetize your game. And again, the way you go about this is that you try to sell your game for a one-time purchase. So if you consider that as the main business model, then you're competing directly to selling, for instance, a course, right? Or a PDF. What is the amount of work that you need to put into a PDF or making a course compared to making a full game that is going to enter and compete with all of these other, I don't know, Asian developers that they really know their shit when it comes to gaming in a very specific setup, which is like even Web3 or on mobile games or whatever, right? So unfortunately, I don't have anything like super positive to share other than, the communities that you can build around Web3 games and Web2 games as well are one of the most powerful tools. So if you're a creator whose main
Mm,
goal is to keep an engaged community, then games are certainly something that you can consider and art for ourselves as well.
100%.
Can I
Actually, I
add?
think so.
No,
Go
you
ahead.
go, you go, you go.
Okay, I think that's what I was trying to get at earlier, is that one of the upsides of being in Web3 is the community building opportunities that we have, especially on X. We already have a community built with us. We already have our own personal communities in each of our personal brands that we are building. Could that be a way to make a game happen? Add a layer of success to it? I'm not quite sure. Kobe, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna think, I was gonna say, like, to both your points, like, I think the hidden alpha in there is that the game isn't the end goal to monetization. The game, it just like your community is a tool in the toolbox, like in your ecosystem towards monetization.
Mm,
You can't, of course we could talk about chicken and egg, right? Community versus game versus app versus content, right? There's all that, like, you can probably do one of any of them first, but one of them is not going to pay your rent. What you need to do, what I would advise doing, is build a community in one of those four ways. Don't expect any of those four ways to be the breadwinner, and then funnel your community into your paid ventures, whatever they might be, whether it's like a course, whether it's resources, whether that is like a exclusive community, right? Like a paid version of your community if you have like something unique to offer, um or advertising, right? Like if I have this community of, like, it's like a free to play game, there's no monetization in it at all, but it's like really fun and kind of addicting and people will just play it, like, while they're like on the toilet, then that might not make me any money. I might lose money from that, but I sure as hell can put a banner ad in that game if I've got eyeballs on it. I sure as hell can, just get in-game like brand partnerships, any type of thing. All of a sudden, I could be selling somebody else's digital product in my game and making royalties off that. And all I had to do was make this like low-level entry thing, whether it's community game or otherwise. So I think the hidden nuance is that any of these ideas are not the end goal, and that is probably where I've failed in some of my research. Is I'm like, oh, how can I make money doing this? How can I make money doing that? No, do the things that get the attention,
How can
because
I get eyes, not
attention,
money?
boom, eyes first, money second.
Mm, I like that.
So
In
yeah, so
relation to that, you might as well spend some time doing a game that you enjoy playing, right? Why doing something like, you're not even going to play with your community. You better spend some time doing something that you really like and you enjoy playing with others so that you can connect with others. Like games still are an amazing way to connect with people online. It's going to keep being like that, and I think it's only going to increase as society goes more and more online. And I think we're going to experience like a new wave of indie hackers in this sector, trying to create games and connection experiences that connect people in a very unique way through these games.
like you guys know Roblox, right?
Yeah.
So Roblox is kind of a glimpse into what I think the future of gaming is going to be like. Now, sure, there's a lot of like bad things about Roblox and stuff like that, but the fact that it's like this ecosystem, and we can create games that are inside of the Roblox ecosystem, and as a player of Roblox, I can go down this street, I can go down that street, I can play his game, I can play that game, whatever. Like maybe the future looks like that, except not just for younger kids, but for all games, where it's this like kind of I don't want to say isolated, but this like, yeah, this like big ecosystem. Maybe it's VR, right? Like Meta tried to do this, right, where it's like, yeah, this VR world, and that's the base game, but we can do all these different monetization things inside the game. And again, it goes back, if you have already grown a community, then you can funnel those folks into there for the experience, and then hope to make a couple bucks from any of these other like monetization strategies that we mentioned.
After all this, the metaverse is back.
It's back, baby. It's always was here. It always
No,
was here.
it never left. Brewing in the background. Okay, so I like kind of where we're ending up here. The fact that and this feels right and less stressful or pressure inducing as well. Build a game for the love of building a game, for the love of playing a game. Go for eyes, not money. And yeah, I think those are the two main ones. So after all of this, gentlemen, do you think it's worth our time just over the next couple of streams or whatever to build a game? Meh. Hold up, I have a sound effect for that.
You're on mute, Quantic.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I said no, and not because you know, not because it's not the most the most easy way to monetize things, and this is our focus, but because with so many other alternatives, unless we are really into gaming, is not worth our time in general, right? In our audience, we do play games, by the way, and we can actually do something with DeFi Kingdom at some point. We love DeFi Kingdom and we play with them, so that's
Yes.
definitely on the rise and it's going to happen. But from there to really spend our time building these games, I would say it's not worth it.
Okay.
Yep, I agree. I agree. It's and as the guy who would probably be doing the building, um, I don't have a love for the game. Like my heart, it wouldn't be in it. And now that we've kind of all, I think, can probably agree that monetize, like through a game, monetization really shouldn't be the end goal,
Yeah.
unless you're experienced and have like the right network and the right, like the people that Quantic was talking about. Then it shouldn't be the end game. And if it's, yeah, so I'm totally in agreement.
Guys, speaking of the right network, I would like to propose a small pivot for these last few 10 minutes, more or less, that we have um, about something that we have discussed with a lot of care, right? Which is the idea of having this Web3 token for our community and this like for creators, right? And to empower creators and have some mini grants so that when we do these vibe coding sessions, we also have some incentives behind, right? And we can utilize pump.fun and whatever. And one of the issues that we found alongside the tokenomics is the fact that you also need to have some sort of contact inside, or not because you want to have like insider support, but you want to have, if you're going to launch something on a specific platform, you want to get connected with the people that have like the better insight about it, right? So we can get recommendations and be safe and maybe get some marketing support or whatever. In these regards, I am in touch with someone that I think could help us inside of Pump.Fund, which is amazing, right? Because we are eliminating one of these barriers. However, though, I want to take the mic back to Kobe and ask you about what would be the thing that would motivate you in terms of building something for utility for this asset, considering now that we can 100% probably disregard building a game.
I would say, yeah, just like what would change my mind is still whether it's a game or not, is still product, right? Like, is is there a good, if I can objectively, if more than us, if outside of us three, if someone can validate whether it's a good idea or it makes sense to have a token once the product is at least ideated and mapped out, doesn't have to be completed. Um, as long as there's a logical, like, what's the right word? A logical way to use this token in app, right?
Mhm.
That's all. And that and for the product that it solves a real problem. It doesn't have to be a problem that no one else is already solving. Again, I firmly believe that there's plenty of market share to go around. So if somebody's already solving this problem, we can also try to solve it in our way, in the Web3 Matters way. So as long as the product solves a problem, and as long as there's a logical way, it doesn't have to be the most revolutionary way either, but a logical way to use this token in app. So I think, like, and how is that? That's not too much to ask, right? I don't.
I think it depends because we're talking about solving a problem with a product. We can certainly do that. How complex we want to do it. I think that the most important question is what we can actually do within our reach with our skill set that we can actually push through and deliver, right? Which is something that we discussed before, which is we don't want to do any sort of promises without
Right.
having something that we
Yeah.
can actually do.
Trav and I cooked up a pretty dope idea that like a few months back.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
yeah, I bet you forgot about it.
What?
You want to
I
talk about it,
totally forgot
Trav?
about this.
Let's
Do you
let
Sure.
want
it
to?
go.
Yeah, do you
Yeah,
want to talk
yeah.
about it? Or I
Happy
can try to
to.
like refund my memory, but you probably have a
Oh,
better understanding. Go ahead.
yeah, I got pretty deep on this, and I still have the conversation that I had with good old ChatGPT about this. But essentially, it's like a content creator kind of persona platform where it's basically it's a tool that helps you create better content. But what you can do is you can take your post, add it into the platform, and basically it will tell you which of the most successful content creators your content most resembles. So let's say you put in like a thread and it's like, oh, you are 90% like Alex Finn right now. Here, and then it'll kind of like create a profile for you where over time the more content you put in, it'll kind of start to aggregate all of these percentages of, oh, you're like Alex Finn, oh, like you're like Whale Swoosh, oh, you're like this and this and this, and it'll create this profile of what your style is like, and yeah, help you kind of create better content. Or like, let's say you are 90% like Whale Swoosh, but I want to be more like Alex Finn. How can I do that? Okay, here's how you can do that. And
Yeah, like
then
a make it like Alex Finn button type shit.
yeah, exactly. And the
Okay,
on
I'm not
top,
gonna question here. I'm not gonna question the value behind it, which I think you can. I'm just gonna roll with it now and say, how would you go about building that in practice, Cody?
Yeah, so this actually came amongst this idea came from Trav when we were talking a lot about building kind of like this synthetic brain, so to speak, for yourself as a
Right.
creator, like building a knowledge base of all of your existing content, and then putting that to either like a custom GPT or like that would be like the most basic on level, right? It's a custom GPT. Now we would make how to execute this idea would basically we would make like knowledge bases for all of those creator personas, right? Well, if we're using the Alex Finn example, like he would get a knowledge base. We would scrape every single tweet that he's ever made, right? Or at
Mhm.
least every tweet in the last 5 years. We would do that for these other folks, a thread guy, whatever, all these other creator, different personas, Elon, actually probably not Elon, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
So we would
yeah.
create all these knowledge bases. We would decide on parameters for each of them, like white space used, lowercase, punctuation, tone, all of these different like parameters to analyze the knowledge base, right? And we would like compare them against these other knowledge bases. So we've got all these personas, and you plug in your content, and it would do a scan and basically analyze the data points that it pulls from your content to the knowledge bases that we've created. And then since another way to use a knowledge base is to just create content, right? Like, write me a thread about topic X and make it sound like creator Y. We already can do that now with GP custom GPTs. So why not do it at scale where not only you're write can get it to write for you like other people, copywriting best practices, all that stuff, but then it also can analyze and track your content as well, like the first point that Trav made, right? Like, who does this sound like, or what am I.
I think that you touch upon like the two core, I would say, concerns that I have, which is the part in which you do this at scale. In terms of the type of problem that you're solving, I think it's massive because it's the kind of model that you can then replicate in other industries, maybe not just for creators, and then build multiple businesses around. So I think that's great. Now, when it comes to actual execution and doing this at a scale, do you have the solution in your mind? Like, how would you build like the architecture to do this? Because we're talking about training models, feeding data, or maybe I'm just, confused, and this is just a sort of GPT wrapper with another server in the
Yeah,
back end. And if that's the
yeah.
case, then yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, so you can actually, and Andre Karpathy just came out with a kind of a solution to like training your own models, like using ChatGPT or like OpenAI's kind of like base layer, and then renting their GPUs or CPUs to train your own model on data. So that's like one kind of cool way to do it. But the more realistic way, and the way that I would actually approach it, if I didn't have a huge budget to do it, would be to, yeah, it'd be like, yeah, bunch of AI wrappers, right? It would be like each folder in the code base, like each persona would have a folder. It would have like maybe a summary of all their content, the different parameters, the actual content, all of it scraped, right? And yeah, so and then that would be its own knowledge base, right? When the AI was activated, right? Make it sound like Alex Finn. Well, then that would activate the Alex Finn like folder, and it would basically have a built-in system prompt under the hood that would say, here's the parameters that we've set up. This is the summary of what Alex Finn sounds like. Cross-reference it throughout this directory. Um,
Got it. Got it. Understood. Understood. I think I grasped the idea. The only thing that I'm seeing as massive concern is the cost associated to this,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like
Mhm.
API costs, right? For the AI, of
Yes.
course, of course. So the way that I would consider doing it would be that you could get like a couple free uses, maybe three free uses or something. And we'd probably have to like figure out, run some numbers and like, okay, if we got X amount of users that all did the three uses, how much would that cost us? That we would have to basically just pay. Um, and then a monthly subscription model, right? And then that potentially that monthly subscription model could be paid, if you decided to use our token, then you could get a discounted rate for your monthly subscription, and then that would maybe get you a certain amount of uses per month.
Got it.
And
So it would be a freemium model with a
premium.
discounted based on our token.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. That's like the way that I think of it basically like from Trav's idea all the way to like this conversation. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I
Mhm.
have done a lot of like research in terms of like I've already scraped people's content, right? It always changes, but you know, it's in the simplest words, using like Playwright to and with a Python script to basically open up your browser for you and scrape through this content. You know, do like one tweet every 5 seconds and add it to your database. And run with it, right? So cool idea. The API cost would be the kind of the biggest hurdle, and then the second hurdle would be getting people to use it, like showing, like proving the value.
Mhm.
There's a couple people out there doing this in a similar way, and there's also content creation like AI platforms too. So we could kind of like pull the things that we like the best from these different platforms that are already solving this problem, and do it our way.
And also, kind of just to finish it off, talking about kind of like a scaling and marketing standpoint here as well. I've from the conversations that I've had, I have like really cool ways to kind of gamify this, really cool ways to um, kind of like make it kind of like an RPG where you can have all of these things that kind of evolve over time depending on which persona you're mostly like. There can be leaderboards. There could be different mechanisms to like if you get to this level, then all of a sudden now you can become a creator, a persona who we then compare you to other creators as well. And I think one of the biggest reasons why I thought that this could work is I was having this conversation all around the idea of, what do creators on X want? And they want to fit in, they want to be popular, they want to, yeah, it's kind of like high school in a way, they want to be part of the cool kids club, they want to be recognized. And, having something along these lines where like, oh yeah, you're like 90% like this rock star here, like that's awesome. And people want, not only do they will they appreciate that comparison, but then I'd like to be able to integrate ways for them to like show that off in a sense, like have different banners or things like that that they could then post on X to be like, look at me, I'm 90% Alex Finn, 10% Shillin Villain sort of thing, and just kind of get that virality out of it as well, if that makes sense.
I mean, Kaido did this, right? Like Kaido kind of captured some virality with like the smart followers thing.
Yeah.
Like I know that we probably all posted our smart followers. We didn't go and airdrop hunt, we didn't go and spend a bunch of time yapping. Maybe we did,
No.
right? I'm speaking for myself, but I don't, yeah. So we didn't do like we didn't yap, we didn't use that platform, but I used the data, right? And if I was working for like a bigger company that had like $1,200 a month to spend on this data, like that, remember we had a whole like two back-to-back spaces about their
Yeah.
hidden monetization strategy, I guess, right? And again, if we did happen to acquire users, we're lucky enough to acquire users, well, all those tweets would then go into our database that we're generating. We would be able to link those to performance-based metrics, right? If this tweet was generated, then and we know someone's account is linked to our platform, we could also scan the performance metrics off of Twitter. All of a sudden, we are gauging or creating our own metrics of like what actually performs well on Twitter. That data is monetizable. That data is usable. That data is resellable back to our users for like a premium, like a pro level. Um, so yeah, man, I think it's really cool, actually.
I like it. Quantic, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts is that we should explore this further because I like the idea. I have to be honest with you. The only concern that I have is in regards to the execution and the cost part. How are we going to handle that? Because, if we're talking about launching a token, that's also adding up to a cost in a way, right? You need to do the fundraising. And then, regardless of that, if you're really promising you're going to build this platform, you have to push it through. So I don't want to be in a position in which we promise something that we can't deliver. But other than
100%.
that, the idea I think is great.
That's really
I
cool.
think I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more, to be honest. Like I don't think any of us want to like handcuff ourselves to anything that could have that risk where it falls back on others.
Yeah.
Um, one way would be to kind of maybe like do it like an MVP, right? Maybe one or two creator personas. If you can get a simple UI going to where, you're like, hey, make it sound like X or Y. Um, and we can prove that that model works, like prove the scraping works, prove that the costs aren't too crazy. Um, then potentially, I'm not saying that this is the route we should go, but potentially, like if you have a usable MVP that actually shows, okay, this is valuable, like this could solve the problem, like I would pay money for this. Um, then we could talk about potentially raising, whether it's crowdfunding or looking for like some like a group of smaller, not even VCs, but just people that want to get ownership in the product, maybe do quarterly rev share or monthly revenue share with those with the people that are co-owning the platform with us in a way. Now you
Yeah,
do
that
kind
was
of get
very
into
nice.
some securities areas there, but I'm gonna leave that for what do they say? Don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness, right? So
Yeah, no, but I mean, there are ways to go around this, like as long as we are not promising any, you know,
no
profit from the
upside,
asset or
no
whatever. Like you're
promising
doing
win.
something on top of phone, like come on, be real. But anyways, guys, this was a nice, very nice stream to kind of brainstorm in public and see that, not everything that looks shiny is gonna end up working. Specifically for gaming today, we learned that, it's not as easy as it seems, although things are significantly improving with these LLM tools and how you can utilize AI, and that the main goal could be on a first iteration, one, do a game if you really are into games, two, if you're not into games but you want to leverage this as a tool, then do it for the community rather than just for monetization part.
Right? No, I'm excited. It's I think the biggest thing I'm taking away from this is just having a much broader and better understanding of the actual gaming ecosystem in general. It sounds like a lot of stress to build a successful game if you're not doing it for the right reasons. If you are literally just doing it to monetize, it's going to be a grind. And I think in order to kind of preserve our ethos at Web3 Matters, we have to do it for the right reasons. We have to do it for the love of whatever it is that we're doing, and we have to do it to make the world a better place, to bring value to the people who have been with us this entire time here. And any other way is just not okay.
100% agree. It's all about kind of like where your heart is in terms of, and you're always going to put your best foot forward when your heart's into something.
Yeah.
I had a really good point. I forgot it. But yeah, I'm kind of stoked and want to explore this more. Yeah, like I don't know if you remember, Trav, but how excited I got when you kind of shared that with me back in the day, a few months back. And
Oh, I remember.
yeah, and like I said, even more so now, there's other people solving this problem. So now we can go and study these folks, and like I even have a relationship with somebody that made the postal app, and he's gone viral. He's like pretty young, 22-year-old, vibe coded this with his friends, ended up quitting his job, and he's
Yes.
they maybe do like 5K a month, but like dude, with like a 2-person team, 5K a month, you're not living in like a super super expensive place to live. Like that's like good money, right?
Yeah.
And that's MRR. So I don't know how much his API costs are costing him, right? But anyways, I'm excited to study kind of what else is working out there, and then run the numbers on the API stuff to see like, okay, is this really that big of should we invest this time? The last point I'll make, I do think that according to Sam Altman, right? I mean, he's probably a cyborg lizard person, but he did say he did say that he expects API costs to go down 10x over the next few years, and so I think they've committed to building like 10 gigawatts worth of data centers by 2030. And
Wow.
I'm not saying we should. Yeah, that's a lot for it. Yeah, that's a lot. And so if anyone, I'm not saying we should wait till 2030 to do this, but I think letting API costs be the thing that stops anybody from exploring an idea is only detrimental to your future self at this point in time in 2025, about to be 2026.
Love that. A lot of good takeaways here for anyone who's just wanting to get into the vibe coding game. If you have zero experience at all, literally just start. Don't let any of these concepts that we're going over here handcuff you to not doing it. What's important is that you get in the mix, you give it a shot, and you learn from it. And the more you do, the better you will become at it, and the more experience you'll have in terms of what works, what doesn't, what's sought after, what's not. So yeah, great way to end this off here, Kobe. Any final thoughts on your end there, Quantic? Hope you're unmuting it, man.
I was unmuted. On my end, I think it was very productive, and I'm happy that we are able to share this information transparently, even when things do not look so good as we initially thought. And for the people in our audience, make sure to tune in on our next episode. It's going to be on Friday at 4 p.m. UTC. We're always there trying to show you new tools, new concepts, new things that we are looking into the vibe coding world with AI, with Web3, and the combination of both these technologies.
Love that. For one viewer on Twitch, you are awesome.
Yo!
Thank you so much. Let's go. There's been one this entire time, and I love it. I'm not logged in, so it's not me.
Yeah, and it was about to be me earlier. I was like, yo, should I go and like just put it on in the background? But my computer wouldn't have been able to take it. I left like my local servers running all night. I woke up, my laptop was closed next to me all night, and it's like humming. And I open it up, and there's like 4 local hosts running and out of Cursor.
Wow.
Don't do that. So one thing I want to mention, Cursor 2.0 just came out a couple days ago. It's free to download. They didn't pay me to say this. We're not affiliated with them at all. However, it is now taking a more if logging in and seeing the code base scared you, isn't how it has to be anymore. You can go in, it's more chat centric, it's more agent focused now. Cursor 2.0, it's free to download. You could probably get a few free calls by testing it out. That would be where I would start now. It's like I wouldn't even push people to the vibe coding web-based stuff. I would say go in and start having a conversation with an AI inside of Cursor. It's going to be just your traditional chat window that you're used to, and you don't have to look at files and you don't have to look at code unless you want to. There's a button for that.
There's a button for that.
I like this as a possible topic for next episode or in the future, because I haven't had the chance to check it out, but I do have to. Like at this point with Cursor, you have to get up to date if you want to really build meaningful things. I think it's one of those magic tools that we have during this time. So if anyone's watching, yeah, we're not associated with this product, but it's just something that is useful and that we use on a day-to-day basis.
And they just dropped their first model too. They just made their own internal model, like a LLM model, called Composer. And so I think that's going to be now for sure. If Composer catches on, like now they can kind of negotiate with these API providers like OpenAI and Anthropic and the like. Now they might not have to be subject to them and their costs, right? It's so like otherwise they would have eventually been swallowed up by OpenAI's version of Cursor or Anthropic's version of Cursor in the future. And so now they have their own model. Cursor ain't going away now for sure. It's not going away.
I'm excited to hear it. I'm excited to learn more about it because like almost every single live stream that we have, I'm left saying like I really got to get into vibe coding more. It just seems like such a powerful skill to have. I'm honestly, every single time you prompt, I think you're becoming a more equipped version of yourself, because if you can understand the prompt metrics, that's not the right way to say that. You can understand what makes a good prompt, what makes a crap prompt. Like this is what you are going to need to really prosper moving forward, because AI is not going anywhere in every single realm, whether you're making videos, making content, making programs, doesn't even matter. You need to know how to prompt, and this is how you get started here. So I think we're ready to wrap it up there, friends. What do you guys think?
Absolutely, man. Secret to success is getting started. So what are you waiting for? Go get started.
Go. Excellent. Yeah, guys, awesome stream once again. We are finally trending on X here. We're at the bottom of the list, but actually, wow. Oh no, we're off now. Okay, never mind. But we were trending there for a little bit. There were some massive powerhouses live streaming at the moment here, up to like 12,000 viewers. But to our over 100 viewers right now, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for taking the time to be a part of this conversation. We hope you guys learned something valuable from it. If you did, let us know. Let us know how we can continue to bring value to you so that we make sure we are talking about things that are actually important to you. If you didn't learn a single thing, let us know as well. We want to improve. We want to get better. We want to bring you guys the value. We want to bring you the alpha here. So definitely stay tuned. follow Web3 Matters here. Put the noties on. We're going to be definitely getting back here next Friday at the exact same time with some more alpha here. And if there is a burning question that you guys have, we would love to at least spend some time on it on our live stream as well. Also, if you are building something, let us know. We'll get you on our stream as well. We'd love to highlight your work and show it to the rest of the world because there is huge amounts of value in that here. So I'm going to stop talking now. We appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. We will see you next week. Take care.
See you guys. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.